D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to my week in review, where I come to you every Sunday with 3 entertainment stories that I personally find interesting, and then we discuss them down below. Now, also down below, you can find the articles that I read to bring you this video, and you can read them for yourself, or you can just watch this video, or I'm going to break them all down for you. Before I get started, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we just keep getting shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so now that we got that business out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started on these 3 stories. So for my first story this week, all right, so I know I'm a little late to this story, but I wanted to talk about it, and I wish I could have done the story earlier, but, better late than never, you know what I'm saying? But I have thoughts about this story. So if you've heard, which I know you've heard, because people on the internet, the little Disney shills or Star Wars shills, are just freaking the shit out. Okay, so the Acolyte has been canceled. No season 2 for this show. Thank God, because I have to be honest with you, I did not like this show. I mean, I thought the episode 5, the lightsaber battle. Now, granted, that guy, Shad, in Shadosity. Sorry, I'm getting names all mixed up. I'm so horrible with names. He broke down the lightsaber fight in episode 5. But I was all like, you know what? When I first watched it, I thought it was cool. And when you break it down, yeah, you can see the holes, but at the same time, I just go, I can't help that I liked it when I first saw it. I thought it was a good lightsaber fight. But the show overall, the storyline for me just sucked. Now, and I didn't like it, but at the end of it, I was just like, whatever. So I want to talk to you about why this failed, okay? Now, I'll pull up the article just real quick for you. I'm not going to go through the article. It's from Deadline, my favorite. Now, they go through and they talk about certain things, but I want to go through a series of things of why did this fail? Why did this show fail? Okay. First thing is the ratings. Now, if you read this article, and if you're like me and you like to check out the Nielsen ratings, it talks about how when it first premiered, the first 2 episodes that came out, it premiered at number 7. Okay. And then the following week on episode 3, it went up to number 6. So 6 was the highest it ever got on the Nielsen ratings. And then the bottom dropped out. And after episode 3, which I think episode 3 was very controversial as for Star Wars fans, I think that the Disney shills liked it because they're just all like, yay, lesbian witches and everything. But or space witches. And so after episode 3, it never returned back to the Nielsen ratings. Okay. It only returned back to the Nielsen ratings after the finale. And it says it in this article too, but I knew this before it was in the article. But I know, humble brag, but it went to number 10. After 8 episodes, it only got back up to number 10. So the ratings for this show were not that great. And I know a lot of people want to be like, oh, it's hate and everything. But I just want to say, like, for people like myself, I didn't want to hate on the show because I honestly thought that Leslie Headland's pitch of Kill Bill meets Frozen, I didn't think was a bad pitch. I thought actually, I was like, you know what? That's actually a good idea. 2 sisters, one seeking revenge for I thought the murder of her sister. The problem with the show is they let everything out of the bag way too soon. Amanda Stenberg said she was playing twins in an interview, which I was like, that was a dumb idea. They revealed the twin situation way too early in the episodes. And then they marketed this very badly. It wasn't Frozen meets Kill Bill because it wasn't the bride on a noble quest of revenge. It was just some girl, like, I don't know. It was just weird. This show was badly written. Like, the writing on the show was just top-notch bad. So I thought that was good, but this whole time, and it gets me about these people. What do you mean these people? You know what I'm talking about, idiots. Is they've been telling us since day 1, if you don't like it, don't watch it. This isn't made for you. And it's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to watch it because it's not made for me. And then they're all like, bigots, you didn't watch it because it was a strong female woman of color. And you're all like, No, you said it wasn't made for me and I shouldn't watch it. So I'm not going to watch your fucking dumb show. And then they get all pissy about it and they just start whining and making up excuses. Listen, your show sucked. It was bad. Nobody watched it. Get the fuck over yourselves. That's what I have to say about that. Like, boo freaking who? Which makes me go to social media and like places like Twitter and then and TikTok. This show can be viewed on all these other social media platforms. Like, you can watch it on Twitter. You can watch the big scene, like Plagueis. I knew about Plagueis before I watched the episode. Okay. And I was like, okay, fine. They put a little creepy Gollum character in there. Nobody freaking cares. People that aren't like, didn't read the books and everything or play games or whatnot. I have always thought that there are levels to fandom. And for me personally, watch the original trilogy all the time. Love the original trilogy. I even like the prequels. I know everybody's all like, nobody liked the prequels until the sequel trilogy came out. I'm like, that's not true. I've always liked the prequels. I've always thought there's bad things in the prequels. They're not perfect, but I did like the prequels. I really like episode 1. That one's my favorite out of the prequels. But anyways, besides the point. And I just really just like, it's so you can go to Twitter and you can watch all these clips. You can watch clips of what happened, that again. Also, episode 5, before I watched the episode, because it dropped while I was at work, because I work nights. So I would be at work and the clips would drop. Like, I saw the lightsaber fights. Like, I saw Jackie die before Jackie died. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you guys, and on TikTok, it's like, it's not that I'm saying like these things shouldn't happen, but maybe, Disney needs to be a little bit more harder on letting people let their clips being released. Maybe stop these and YouTube, some to a degree, stop these people from letting them get out your clips, and then maybe people have to go and watch it. Then we have to add, and I think that, piracy does play a little bit of part into it. People don't go to Disney Plus to watch it. They go to Sail the High Seas and everything, which, I understand some people doing that. But at the same time, I'm just like, again, it just goes back to the whole, I get it. They're all like, you don't want to watch it, don't watch it kind of thing. All right. So then, but piracy does play it. But I don't think piracy plays a huge factor into it, because like me personally, I'm like, I just watched on Disney Plus because I was like, I cannot be bothered to pirate this. Like, I can't, I'm not going to take the time and effort it takes, because that's just too much. Like, I'll just sit in front of my TV and write notes down and stuff, because I don't care. Okay. So then we have to ask ourselves, is the audience expanding? Is the audience getting bigger? And the fact that the audience is not getting as big as Disney wants. They are making content for people that don't exist and in the fandom, and they're making content that is made for a certain type of fan that either doesn't exist or they're not coming over to your project. Okay. And Kathleen Kennedy really, stabbed herself in the foot when she was all like, we don't owe anything to the original fandom. And that's wrong, because you have to be honest with yourself. The fandom are straight men. This Star Wars has always been for little boys, and little girls can come along too. That's fine. But we have to be honest with ourselves. Little girls don't give a shit about spaceships and lightsabers. And case in point, I can only use myself as an example. I have 2 children. One's a boy, one's a girl. My son will play lightsabers all day. Neither one of them are really into Star Wars. I've tried. Maybe I'm a bad dad, but I've tried my hardest to get them into it. But they're just not into Star Wars. They want nothing to do with Star Wars. I've tried so hard. They like Baby Yoda, but they only like, plushies and little like trinkets of Baby Yoda. Like, hold on, I'll show you. They're all like, he's so cute and everything. And they wanted a plushie. And then we bought these little toys right here and everything. But after that, they want nothing to do with Star Wars. They're just like, I'm not interested in Star Wars. Like, I don't give a shit about Obi-Wan and his journey and everything. And I just go, okay, they don't want to watch Star Wars. But my son, he will lightsaber fight me all the time. I mean, my daughter will too, but my son more than her, So Star Wars has always been for straight males. And I don't mean all straight males. You guys are going to take everything out of context, but mostly for straight males. And we've been told, and this doesn't just go for white guys, but we've all been told male and pale equals stale. And it's like, maybe male and pale equals money, fuckers, and viewership. Because if Kathleen Kennedy would have stuck to pleasing the original Star Wars fandom, which were straight men mostly, and then made content off to the side for this new audience that they wanted to bring in, maybe it would have gotten more attention and would have been more received better. And I just go, listen, you did this to yourself, Kathleen. You're a horrible producer. You're a horrible head of Lucasfilms, and you've run this shit into the ground. Like people like me, I'm not coming back. Like I'll watch this stuff and I'll cover it. But like, for instance, and I'll say this and then I'll move on to the next thing that I wanted to say, but I used to buy Star Wars products every year. I'd spend thousands of dollars on stuff. And I'm not just, I would buy action figures. I would buy stationery and pens, coffee mugs. I have like 15 Star Wars coffee mugs that as soon as I like get another coffee mug, it's going in the trash, or I'll just give it to somebody or put it in a garage sale or something like that. I don't need this shit. And it definitely doesn't need to be Star Wars. You know, they've lost me forever, you know, in terms of buying product. Shirts. I used to buy a ton of Star Wars shirts, and it's just she shot them in the foot. And Disney has no one to blame but themselves for hiring Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's done a horrible job. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is I saw people online saying that this was a win for toxic fandom. And I just want to say right now, hell yeah, it is. You can call me personally, you can call me toxic all day, every day. I don't give a shit. You've ruined Star Wars, and then you guys praise bad writing. The thing about this show is, and I didn't try to like talk mad shit about it. I gave it a chance. It sucks. The writing is terrible. The acting's fine. Acting is, I have nothing. The actors, they did fine. Amanda Sandberg, she came out here and was all like, me, Stone, Steve, Stone, fuck with now, just cause and everything. And I'm all like, bitch, get the fuck out of my face. I don't need your shit. But me personally, I'm just like, this is terrible writing. The writing on this show is awful. It half the time it makes no sense. Half the time you're just like, why is creepy Gollum Plagueis in here? Like that, like it's so stupid. It's just bad. It's bad writing. And the people that defend it, I just don't get you. I just don't get you, like, at all, in any way, shape, or form. So is this a win for toxic fandom? Yes, it's a win. I count this as a win. I want Kathleen Kennedy gone. I want her. And the fact that she didn't show up to D23, the Star Wars panel or the Star Wars section, says a lot. The only time she showed up was to give Harrison Ford his, like, you know, Disney Gold Achievement or some crap like that. Like anybody gives a shit about that. But that's the only time she showed up. And I think she got a couple of boos, which good. I wish she would have showed up and just got booed to off stage. But, you know, what are you going to do? Kathleen Kennedy is the devil. All right. And then I saw some people bitching and moaning because ratings wise, Andor season 2 did not do well in terms of ratings and viewership. And they're right. Andor did not do, the first season did not do well in terms of viewership. That's the truth. Okay. But I'll say two things. One, when Andor was signed on from the get-go, they signed for 2 seasons and 2 seasons only. They said this is going to be a 2-season show, which I applaud them. And what's his face that's running the show? I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I applaud them for that because I hate when shows just go on and on and on. And you're like, please just end now. But they said 2 seasons. That's all you're getting of Andor. That's all we're telling. 2 seasons, and it's 24 episodes. 24 episodes. I can't remember. This is how many episodes this show is total. Okay. And the second thing is Andor. Now, I personally didn't like Andor because I thought it was boring, and I stick to that. But I have also said Andor is a well-written show, even though it's boring. The creator of the show, it makes sense. Like I'm sorry, you can watch that show, and I do find it boring, the stuff that I wish they focused on. And I'm not talking about lightsaber battles and stuff like that. There's just some, for me personally, Andor, I have thoughts about Andor, but I've recently rewatched it, and I like it a little bit more. Anyways, okay. So Andor was well written. I'm sorry, you can argue with me all day, but you're wrong. Andor is a well-written show. It's just, it doesn't have enough action in it. Personally, and that's, I just have some problems with Andor, but again, well written, and they've set out for a specific number of episodes. Okay, so now I do one thing I want to talk about was representation, you know? Do studios have do they have a responsibility to representation? And the answer is no. They don't have a responsibility, but I think it's good. I think it's a good idea to, for instance, have people of color in your Black people and Asian people in your projects. That's totally fine and totally a good idea, for instance, and I'll bring this up, and I know plenty of people brought this up. John Boyega in the sequel trilogy should have been the main character, and he should have been the Jedi. Everybody thinks that. You think that. I think that. Rey was not a well-written character and not fully fleshed out, but John Boyega should have been the Jedi in that story, and Rey should have been the Han Solo. And they didn't do the right thing because nobody was the Han Solo in that story, and then Rey was just a shitty Luke Skywalker. But representation is fine when you do it right. When you do it wrong, like this show did, this show was just like, we need representation. And that's all they focused on because the writing was bad. And it just goes to the point where you keep putting people of color in crappy projects. People go, I'm not going to see that project because it's got people of color. And every time I go to a movie or I watch a TV show and it's got, and they just keep saying diversity in it, I just go, well, it's going to be bad because the last one was bad. And the one before that was bad. And the two before that was bad. Why would I watch another bad show? And then you don't get the viewership that you wanted because you keep making crap projects and then touting the diversity in it. And people go, okay, they're just touting diversity, but it's going to be bad because they're all bad. So do they have a responsibility? I don't know if they have a responsibility for representation, but I do think representation is fine. I don't know if it's important, but I don't mind seeing an Asian character. Like Jedi Master Saul in this was fine. I was fine that it was an Asian guy. I was fine that Amanda Stenberg, also kind of the main character, I guess, in her own show, like that she was Black, or I think she's mixed. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the fact that the two main leads were Black or people of color. I don't care. The thing is, again, I'll say it again, and then I'll get off this part, but it's just stupid because you guys have wrote a shitty project. And once it's crap, nobody wants to watch it. And then again, I just go, all right, another another diversity project that ended up being shit, Surprise. And then last thing I want to talk about was with this is the show, should they bring characters from this show that people like? For instance, Kamir. I saw a lot of people liking Kamir. Now, I didn't like Kamir, but that's just me. Sorry, I need a little libation. I'm getting heated. I didn't like Kamir. But I did see, and I'll leave a link, but some friends of mine over at their podcast, the Fanboy Modeling School over at Fight Juice TV, they were talking about watching a show that was Plagueis and Kamir and just having that whole situation. I was like, and then I saw another channel, I can't remember which one, talking about, or maybe it was the same one, talking about how making a show about Darth Sidious's rise to power as Palpatine. And I was like, you know what? These are good ideas. And maybe bringing over Kamir and Darth Plagueis and doing a show about that, maybe that would be fine. It's just, I don't need any of these writers. I don't care about Osha's story. I don't care because it was stupid from the get-go. But we'll see how this turns out. If they bring over some characters, I mean, I guess I just don't care about any of this anymore because the show was crap. By the end of the last 2 episodes, I had covered all the episodes, the whole show. And by the last 2 episodes, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was just like so over it. I didn't want to cover it. I didn't want to watch it. And they did this to themselves, and they have nobody else to blame for it but themselves. And I don't feel bad for them. And Leslie Headland, I hope she doesn't work again in Star Wars or at Disney. Just go away. Go do your Russian dolls somewhere else. Maybe Netflix is hiring because they'll hire any asshole, Yeah. Plus, she was, what's his face's, personal assistant. And so, she knew. So she was complicit. And I stick by that. All right, you guys. So that was my first story of the week. So for my second story of the week, all right, you guys. So Paul Rudd and Jack Black are right now talking about doing a new Anaconda film. Okay. And I just want to say right now that I am on board. I am in for this movie. And here's why. Okay. Anaconda, right? I remember the first time I saw that movie. I remember the trailer for it and it was in theaters and everything. And I didn't get a chance to go see the movie because, my parents were middle class, but the movie theater was like one of those things where we didn't go every weekend. We just went every now and then, maybe like once a month. And Anaconda was not the movie that we got to see in the theater that month. But we did get to go to Blockbuster. I know I'm old. You're not. I get it. It's fine. But Blockbuster was the shit. Okay. They had besides movies, they had so many cool stuff. Like you don't even know. But I remember we rented it and we watched it. Oh, it was so good. I love Anaconda. Even if I watch it now and it's ridiculousness, I still love that movie all day, every day. I mean, like Jon Voight with his crazy weird accent. It's so weird now that I watch it as an adult that I'm like, and the movie's not perfect, but it is for me. Like every time I watch, like looking at this picture right now, that snake when it was like all up in Jennifer Lopez's face, I was like, J-Lo, smack that snake, smack him. He thought you'd get up in your face like that, like girl. So what is this movie about? Let me pull up this article. And I'm not going to read the article to you, but I'm just going to talk about what this movie is about. So it's about basically Paul Rudd and Jack Black play two characters, right? And one of them is like, I think, an actor whose character or whose career is dwindling. And I can't remember what the other one was, but it doesn't even matter, right? And they're going through their midlife crisis, okay? So they decide to go to the rainforest to remake one of their favorite childhood movies, Anaconda, right? They're going to remake it. And first off, love this concept, okay? But then they end up having to deal with real life situations like the rainforest, drug cartels or whatever, and actual giant snakes. So I'm all like, yes, please. I just want to say real quick, I even love all the crappy spin-off, like the sequels. Like I think there was one with David Hasselhoff in it, and I love that one too. I love all of them. You throw a giant snake in a movie and I'm all like, I am here for this. So they have to deal with all this nonsense ensues. Now I am here for it. Now listen, I know Jack Black has recently had a lot of issues with his bandmate and everything and the whole Trump thing. I don't want to get into that because it's not, but at the same time, I love Paul Rudd also, but I do like Jack Black and I would watch this. As I do like them as actors, when they get off of, when they play their characters, whatever. But when they're off in their personal lives and they start talking politics, I hate that crap. But anyways, this movie sounds really good to me. It sounds fun. I'm all on board for it. I think that I just think it sounds so good. I wonder which one would play the Jennifer Lopez part and which one would play like the Jon Voight part. So good. I love this movie, the Anaconda, the original one. So just the fact that they're all like, let's remake this movie. I'm like, yes, please. Daddy is here for this. All right, you guys. So that was my second story of the week. So for my third and final story this week. All right, you guys. So this came out this week and I thought it was interesting, kind of, but not overwhelmingly interesting because I want to be honest with you. I am not interested in this show. And I mean, there's only one reason that I'm interested in this show, and that is because of Terry Matalas. That as soon as they and the thing is, and some people have said like we're giving Terry Matalas a free pass because he wrote one good season of Picard, and I go yes. I thought that Terry Matalas's third season of Picard was excellent. I think that not everything was perfect in that show, but at the same time, he did not write the first two seasons, so he had to work with what his mama gave him, or what Bad Robot gave him, and so he took lemons and he made one sweet ass lemonade. You know what I'm saying? It was delicious. I loved every sip of it. So what is happening here? Okay, so the news here is James Spader is returning as Ultron. And you're like, how? Because Ultron was basically destroyed. They destroyed his body and then they destroyed his internet access. You know what I'm saying? Like his Wi-Fi was dead. And I just go, I'm interested because I do think Ultron from the comic books is a really good villain. Now, I didn't like Kang, and I'm not dissing on Jonathan Majors because I do think Jonathan Majors is a good actor. It's just I don't like Kang. Kang is a stupid character, in my opinion, from the comic books, and I've never liked him. But Ultron's a good character, and I do feel like they wasted it. So bringing him back, this is what I think is going to happen because he's on Vision Quest or whatever. I do think that what they're going to do is Ultron's just going to be like a figment, like going to be talking to, like he's going to be there and he's going to be talking to Vision, but inside his head. He's not really going to be like, when you see Ultron, if you see Ultron, it's like he's going to be standing there and talking to him, but he's not really going to be alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it's going to be like a personality that's talking to him, and he's going to be talking to Ultron, and they're going to be like, who you fucking talking to? Nobody's here, dude. That's what I think Ultron's going to do. Now, James Spader, I love James Spader. He's got a great voice. I love his voice. He was really hot back in the 80s. Not so much now. He gained on some weight and lost all his beautiful locks of hair, but age, am I right? And he plays a really good villain. I think that Blacklist show, he played like a serial killer, but he helped find other serial killers. I was like, whatever, and everything. The show wasn't my favorite, but at the same time, I was like, I like James Spader. And I do think that this sounds like a good idea. I mean, but at the same time, I have not liked any of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. They all are just not that great. And I did in this article, let me pull up the article. I'll have a link down below, but it did say in this article that this show was supposed to be the third part of a trilogy from WandaVision to Agatha All Along, or Agatha Harkness, or Agatha the Darkholme series, whatever it's called these days. And then this is the third, Visions or Vision Quest, whatever this is the third installment of the trilogy. So this is to wrap it all up and everything. And me, I just go, okay, cool. I thought the first part was shit. The second part's, I'll cover it because it's probably going to be shit. And then this one, Terry Matalas, I think, is a good writer from what I've seen. That 12 Monkeys thing that I only watched one episode of that, but what I watched was decent. So we'll see how this turns out. Again, I'm not going to hold out hope, but at the same time, I do think that Terry Matalas has proven himself. So we'll see how this turns out. And I'll cover it. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys. So those are my 3 stories this week. Tell me, what do you guys think about all of this? How do you guys feel about the Acolyte getting canceled and there's no season 2 for this shit show? Did I bring up some good points, or do you have some points that I didn't bring up? Are you someone that thinks that, if, stop watching shows that aren't made for you, and if it doesn't get renewed, boo-hoo, go cry me a river, save the drama for your mama, bitch, and everything? Or do you think that this show should have gotten a season 2 to try to maybe wrap up storylines like Kamir and what was that green lady's name that was a bad actor, their storyline of Master and Apprentice? Or do you think Kamir should be brought over into other projects? Or do you think it should just die on the vine? I think it should just die on the vine. I'm not interested in any of this nonsense. So I think it should die, and then Kathleen Kennedy should go away. What do you think about Paul Rudd and Jack Black doing this new Anaconda movie? My Anaconda don't want none unless it's got Paul and Jack Black. Anyways, but I think that I think this sounds like a good idea. It sounds like a fun idea. It sounds funny to me, like it's gonna be funny. I'm gonna watch this movie. Maybe it won't be a comedy. Maybe it'll be just like a total action thriller with snakes. You know what I'm saying? I'm down with the sickness. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to watch this movie in theaters day one. It is going to be a good time, in my opinion. How do you guys feel about James Spader returning to the Marvel Universe as Ultron in Visions, this show for Disney Plus? Do you have faith in Terry Matalas and his vision for Visions? Even though we really don't know. I mean, it's so far it sounds okay if they're doing the comic book. Because the comic book, the Visions, was pretty good. I did enjoy it. It's one of the only things from Tom King that I actually enjoyed. Jesus Christ, what a terrible writer. Fucker always starts off good and then ends terribly. You know what I'm saying? But tell me what you guys think about this. I think it's a good idea, but at the same time, it's just, if it's like, Robert Downey Jr., you know, just bringing back everybody just to try to save this dumpster fire. I just go, let it burn. Let it burn. It's fine. But that's all I got for you guys this week. Tell me what you guys think about all of this. You can go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on my next week in review. You guys have a good week. Bye. Hey nerds, if you like this video, go ahead and click that Geek What icon and subscribe. And if you like this video, go ahead and join me every Sunday with my Week in Review.